Sometimes, when it comes to changing options related to BoxCutter on the fly, going up to the top bar is just too far. Sometimes pressing N and going to the N panel and locating your favorite option is just too far. And for that reason, pressing D will allow you to bring up the BoxCutter Pie menu. By going through the Pie menu, you can go through most of the options associated with the BoxCutter experience and change them on the fly through the DPie. Keep in mind that this is relevant for if you're trying to adjust your experience prior to drawing a cut. If you bring this up during your cut and try to click things, it will more than likely apply your cut, which may be an undesirable result. But notice that you're able to go in here and change many of the same options that I went over repeatedly over the course of this, from changing your origin, to changing your alignment, to turning on snapping, to turning on grid snapping, to turning on vert, edge, and face snapping, to changing your rotation angle, to turning on pause mode, as well as going to behavior panel to adjust your behavior to perfection. You can also go in here and set whatever modifier you want to be on by default if you're trying to work with a particular modifier present. You can even go back into DPie and turn off that if you want to begin working with asymmetry. So just keep in mind that the DPie is there for you anytime you need to make pre-cut changes. And then at the bottom of it, you also can go in here and choose very finely which movement you're trying to make with BoxCutter. Of course, keep in mind that clicking any of these during operation will make the operation apply, which may be an undesirable result. Down here at the bottom, we also have an option for users to change their draw origin. So like I showed in the top bar, if you like drawing from the corner, which is the default way, that is perfectly fine. You can also press D, go here, and change this to be center, and draw center drawn boxes if you're trying to go for a different look altogether. In fact, let's go here, change this to center, and we draw that, and we see that for some reason it actually is a single use option. So box generally is predominantly used with corners, so it appears that we don't even have the ability to lock it to center draw at this time, which may be a more rational decision than I'm letting on at this time. It really depends on how you intend to use this tool. But center draw is just one of those things that's easier to just draw and then hold Alt in order to just quickly just jump to it on the fly whenever it comes to discussing center draw and its use with BoxCutter. The next thing is also the ability to change your cutter. This is probably the most important part of BoxCutter. They've been set up like this for so long that it's become almost legacy at this point. However, we definitely have much more to our cutters than what you see here. For example, I'm in box. If we jump to circle, we see that box is now an option. If I jump to Ngon, we see that circle is now an option. If I jump to custom, we see that Ngon is back an option. So basically, whatever cutter that you are will eliminate it as an option, leaving the last three, which are basically our base shapes, for users to be able to jump between. But it shouldn't be too daunting for users to get used to basically jumping from Ngon to custom in the same maneuver, jumping to box to custom in the same maneuver. Basically, whatever shape you are will be replaced with custom, allowing you to quickly jump to that shape on the fly. Of course, whenever it comes to shapes, there's no faster way than just holding Alt and rolling the wheel in order to jump through your shapes. And this is probably the fastest and quickest way to find out what BoxCutter has to offer for you, as well as let you quickly get in and find your favorite type of quick shape to just get started with to create whatever it is that you're going for. In fact, wedge is one of those things that's rarely talked about, but I use it so much now just to create little vertical slides of detail, just to get a nice little wedge happening, just to get some surface differentials. Of course, in cases like that, I may want to use HardOps to lower my auto smooth, and then the shading will look just right. But just letting you know that you can get in here and even go into something like lasso, where you can just draw a free-handed stroke and cut ever so gracefully using the new lasso tool that's been added to BoxCutter717.